My first job as Prime Minister is to keep you, your families, and our country safe. Unfortunately, the world is more dangerous than it's been at any point since the end of the Cold War. We've had conflict in Ukraine, the Middle East, and increasingly an axis of authoritarian states like Russia, Iran, North Korea, and China are acting in a more coordinated fashion in a way that threatens our values, our interests, and indeed our country. Now, these aren't faraway problems. They impact us, our security and our prosperity here at home. Take Russia, for example. They've weaponized migration, caused energy bills to skyrocket, and have poisoned people on British soil. Iran is using its proxies to fire missiles at British cargo ships, driving up prices of goods on our high street. But I want to reassure you that we've been alive to these threats and have been investing to protect against them. Over this Parliament, we've increased defence spending significantly from £46 billion up to around £64 billion today. Where has this extra investment been going? Well, when it comes to the army, we're in the midst of a £40 billion modernisation programme, which also involves more tanks, armoured vehicles, and we're a significant contributor to NATO missions in Europe. The Navy is a carrier Navy once again, with an incredible 22 new ships, destroyers, submarines in production, and we've also signed a historic partnership with Australia and America called the AUKUS Alliance to build the next generation of nuclear-powered attack submarines. The RAF is getting new Chinooks, Typhoons, F-35s, and again we've signed a partnership with Italy and Japan to build the next generation of fighter aircraft called GCAP. And crucially, underpinning all of this is more investment in our vital nuclear deterrent, which is the ultimate guarantor of our security. Now, because our economic plan is working and because the risks that we face are increasing, I made a decision to increase our defence spending to 2.5% of GDP by 2030. What does this extra investment mean? Well, first, it means we can proudly maintain our leadership as the largest defence power in Europe and the second largest in NATO behind only the US. Next, it means we can invest in munitions. We need to replenish our stockpiles after the conflict in Ukraine, but also ensure that when future conflicts arise, we can increase production very rapidly. That's going to be good for the British economy because that investment is going to support jobs in places like Bolton, Belfast, and everywhere in between, but also increase our exports. Now, just like technology is changing every aspect of your life, it's also changing how war is conducted. We're seeing that in Ukraine with the use of drones, autonomous vehicles. That's why it's important that we continue to invest more in technology, R&D, innovation, so that we can keep one step ahead of our adversaries. In fact, that is our new Dragonfly laser, which is accurate enough to hit something the size of a pound coin from a kilometre away. We must keep supporting Ukraine. An investment in their security is ultimately an investment in our security. We have to deter Russia now from future aggression, which would be far more costly to deal with, but also send a strong signal to adversaries around the world who are looking at that conflict and our response. And lastly, this will mean that we can continue to proudly and properly support our people, our armed forces personnel who bravely put their lives on the line for us, make sure that they get the support that they deserve. It's a real privilege as an MP to represent many of them at home in North Yorkshire, in Catterick Garrison and RAF Leeming, and it's been one of the most incredible, inspiring parts of me doing this job. Now, this isn't just a vague aspiration, this is a clear, credible, fully funded plan to increase defence spending, which a future Conservative government will absolutely deliver. Well, what's the alternative to our plan? Well, the Labour Party haven't committed to matching our pledge to increase defence spending, but that's not a surprise because after all, Keir Starmer not once but twice supported someone to become Prime Minister who didn't believe in NATO. They wanted to scrap the army and they wanted to get rid of our nuclear deterrent. But it's worse than because around a quarter of all Labour MPs voted against our nuclear deterrent, including the Shadow Foreign Secretary and Keir Starmer's deputy leader. It just goes to show you can't trust Labour. Only the Conservatives will ensure that our country is safe and secure.